You are listening to the Cover One podcast brought to you by CoverOne.net. We've got you locked in on coverage on all things Buffalo Bills, the NFL Draft, and most recently the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and really the NFL as a whole as well. Before getting into our favorite and most down-to-earth guests we've had yet, let me tell you something. Cover One is the premier spot for the casual fan to check out news on their favorite team. The diehard film grinder looking to add some wrinkles in their various concepts, whether they're coaches or really just learning the game at all. Eric, he'll stay up all night breaking down film, breaking down plays, having it up on YouTube faster than you can finish watching the first one. They're all really easy to digest, and if you don't believe me, just check out the channel, subscribe, and see for yourself. Now, video isn't your thing. We've got an awesome staff of writers here. Alan Yu, Nate Geary, Fernando, Nick, even some new guys that really are just doing a great job covering their respective teams from an X and O standpoint, looking at really analyzing how the offseason is going to affect the team. And you're not going to get the clickbait that you will with other sites. You're going to get real football news. And that's what we want to bring you. We also cover the NFL draft here. Russell and Christian do an awesome job with that, with their content and their podcast, which you could find on iTunes and really any streaming service. Last thing I want to say is make sure you download the app. With all this great content we have, make sure you get it right away and you know what you're talking about when other people are reading it and just discussing something, because you get that push notification right to your phone and let you know right when a new article is published, a podcast goes up, a video breakdown's there, and it's really pretty invaluable if you're a fan of football at all. You've got premium content on top of that. So that all that stuff before was free. For as little as $1 up to $25 a year, you can get anything from Eric's exclusive film breakdowns, access to the library of media. You get access to our Slack channel, which is always active with people talking about the Bills, asking and analyzing different things about it. So really, I'd give it a shot. We got a deal going on right now, $10 per month, and a free trial for 2 weeks. So if you don't like it, just cancel. So without further ado, here's our guest for the day, Lorenzo Alexander, the two-time Pro Bowler and Buffalo Bills linebacker.
Coming on the Cover One podcast. How you doing tonight, Lorenzo?
I'm doing pretty good. Just finished up with practice and just headed home to hang out with the fam.
Yeah, you've been a busy guy this off season. What is your 14th training camp now?
Yeah. I've been blessed to participate in 14. Really still enjoying out here running around with these young guys. And so looking for a big season after putting in some good work doing this 14th training camp.
Okay, yeah, I know we've talked a few times before, and that's always been a topic that we've discussed really is, how much you put really into maintaining your body to go through these each year after year of working. Now, this season, the Bills have two linebackers that are pretty young. Tremaine Edmunds was drafted, I believe, 19 years old and turned 20.
Right.
So he's about 15 years younger than you. Now, how does that relationship work as far as knowing that his expectations and really your experience in the league?
I think it's been working well. He's a young guy that has a lot of maturity for his age. I think that's a testament to his parents and the foundation that they laid at home and just raising him. Because he is obviously ultra athletic, but he doesn't allow that to be the focal point of who he is as an athlete. He wants to learn how to play football and have a high football IQ and great technique and fundamentals. So every day he's challenging himself. And for an older guy that came in this league in 2005, it's actually really refreshing because you get a lot of guys that have a sense of entitlement. I've made it. Just rely strictly on my abilities. But he is the complete opposite of that and is really trying to perfect his craft and become one of the best linebackers in this league, which he has the ability to do. And I'm just trying to feed him as much knowledge as I can when I see him either make a mistake or ask me a question or just in words of encouragement because he will be the face of this franchise and defense for the next 5 to 10 years. That he just has that type of ability.
Right, and previously we talked about really, what it takes to stay in the league with a person like you who's played all those different positions and really whatever the coaches ask, you've done it, whether it's playing offensive line even. So having a guy like you there for someone that young with that feeling has to be invaluable. But now as far as you want to obviously be a leader, which you are in the locker room, but then from a competition standpoint, it's got to be a little kind of a push for you as well, don't you? Is it? Or like how does that work out in
No,
the playing time?
not really. I don't think so. I mean, I know my role in my current situation. I'm on my way out of this league. Obviously, Trey and both Matt are young guys and will be in this league a lot longer than me from this standpoint. And so all I'm focusing on is obviously my abilities. You know, I'm comfortable in who I am and what I bring to this team and the versatility, whether I'm rushing or playing linebacker, or a 3-4 endish style when we go to our under front. And then whatever knowledge or wisdom I can help those guys, I'm giving it freely. And I have really no insecurity in being able to do that in any guy, you know, whether it's a guy that's behind me on the depth chart that's trying to obviously unseat me as a starter, because I have complete confidence in who I am as a football player and a leader on this football team. So I'm never going to allow that to kind of dictate my actions or how I treat somebody, because I feel like we're in direct competition. The cream always rises to the top, then iron sharpens iron, and the better guys those equipped, the more they're going to push me. But those guys keep me young. I love playing on Sundays with them and obviously doing the preseason, going out there flying around and actually giving them a little trash talk when a 35-year-old is running by going to the ball.
Right. Now, that was really great to hear, and that's exactly what Sean McDermott kind of brought to the team. It kind of leads me to why I was in the first place of kind of just being that guy that wants to set the tone and be really an example for others. You do so much in the community in Buffalo. I mean, training camp ends and you have your event yesterday with your ACES Foundation. Do you want to just explain for those who haven't maybe seen you on social media about what exactly the ACES Foundation is?
Yeah, I mean, well, serving the community is definitely one of my passions in life. I recognize I had many people in my life outside of, my immediate family, obviously my mom, my uncle who really raised me as a father figure in my life. That really poured into me, whether it was coaches, friends, strangers helping me out, whatever it may have been, to be able to achieve, to be able to play in the NFL, go to college, do all those things, get out of the inner city. And so, once I got to the NFL and had a platform, I started my ACES Foundation, which stands for Accountability, Community, Education, and Sports, which I think are pillars or possible pillars to help young kids get out of the inner city and earn a scholarship, earn a great education, obviously, and then a job and be able to support and give back to their families as well as their communities. So, and I really kind of take that and allow that to travel with me, whatever city I'm in. I'm always doing stuff in Oakland, but, I've played in Washington, D.C., I've played in Arizona, I've played in Carolina, and now that I'm in Buffalo, and the city has done a great job of embracing me and everything that I'm about, I've built some partnerships, whether it's South Park High School or the event you're talking about yesterday when we was over at the Bell Center, another partnership I've created where we brought in health professionals doing free screenings for the community. Immunizations. We had Rise to Vote out there to help people get registered to vote so that they can obviously go out and turn out and put people in office if they would like to. And then for the kids, we had free haircuts. We gave away backpacks. And then we brought in a couple of organizations that do STEM programming, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. Because obviously, the way our country and really the world is working is all about technology. And it was just great to see the different aspects that you can bring with STEM, whether it's robotics, what people may think of, or just problem solving, more of a silver engineering concept, or even like sports analytics. It's really, this person makes this much impact in a game. Or if you run this play on this down, your chances of succeeding are X, Y, and Z. So exposing the kids to that as well, and just give them another avenue where they can be around the game, but not necessarily be on the field. So it was great. And then I obviously had a huge support from my teammates who came out, from Micah Hyde, Jerry Hughes was there, Colton Smith, Reed Ferguson, Harrison Phillips, Tremaine Edmunds, Deion Lacey, Josh Allen. Jordan Poyer, and I know I'm probably forgetting a couple of others, but this team does a great job of supporting each other's passions and foundations, and it was just great to see the guys come out. Kids had a great time, community had a great time, so it was a win-win for everybody yesterday.
Yeah, I just think that's fantastic, because for a lot of the times you see in the media, but they like to portray or talk about the bad stories. And then you see stuff like LeBron with the high school that he goes, and then you see Donald Trump come out and calling it and his comments on that.
Right.
So for you to be out there and really stand up and say, this is what we're doing in the community, that's really great to see. We talked last year with the anthem thing and everything, but how do you think the athletes in the locker room really go about discuss? Do you guys discuss much about what he's saying outside of it, or do you just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to have this platform to do even more, despite
right? I think each locker room is so different. Buffalo's different from maybe the San Diego Chargers or even down in Miami. And I think each, locker room has to come together and figure out, what they deem is best. You have certain individuals that really want to use the platform to continue to raise awareness, and then also do things in the community and do things that are actively going to change our communities as well. So those, I think, taking the holistic approach is great. Obviously the whole protesting during the anthem is divisive, and that's kind of way, I've kind of steered away from it. I think it needed to be done when our president made those statements. I just wanted to stand with my brothers and let them know we're with you. But, but everybody has to make their own choice, and, in our country, it's the right to do it, and you just have to find your own path doing this way and making sure that we lead with love and understanding and proactive activities alongside of bringing awareness to it.
Right. It's just kind of incredible to see guys like you and LeBron and the hundreds of others that are doing all these things, and then just be undermined by someone of that stature. So it's just awesome to see what you're able to do in the community. I remember we talked last year, and you were meeting people just to even have a conversation over coffee about that issue, and if you could find a common ground. Now, like you said, you're coming to the tail end of your career. You probably got it. I know you want to cover some kickoffs for a couple more years if they'll let you. But after your career, I mean, you have such a voice and really a perspective on things. Do you think you would want to go into something? A lot of said you would be great for the media, but do you want to look beyond that? Maybe even something in civil service or like that?
Yeah, I don't really know. Politics is really not my world that I like to work in. I mean, obviously you need people that are able to communicate and obviously have good perspective and come from these communities. But in a lot of ways, it's I don't even know what the right word is. I want to say corrupt in certain ways. It just means that, a lot of these things are funded by certain people and they end up running your story for you, even though you run on a certain thing. And I don't want to get caught up in that, and I think that's why our current president is able to allow him to do what he does, because he had money to kind of pave his way into that situation, so he can kind of do his thing. But I'll see. I mean, I'm always going to be active and be an advocate for young people. So I don't necessarily think I have to hold office to do that. But I think you have so much more power and
control
and movability outside of the system versus being inside of it. So, and that may change. I don't know. As I, kind of grow, mature, and find my way. I never know, but at this moment, I would say no.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the media? I know you Super Bowl row. It was looking. You and Steve Smith were tearing it up all week. So maybe see you on NFL Network, or you just kind of gonna take a few years to relax. You gotta know.
Yeah. No, that'd be great to be able to do something like that when I'm done. So, stay around the game, hang out with the guys. Talk a little bit of trash. Tell my teammates better watch out, because once I go to the other side, I might have to dog you out.
Yeah, I mean, Cover One's always looking. I know you know it well. with the Bills, if you're not going to be president, you're not going to get the NFL Network. If you like blogging, you got the space here. So,
all right, I hear that.
So one last question before we go. Josh Allen, gotta ask, how is he coming along, do you think, from watching him as a defensive perspective?
I mean, I really love what he's been able to do this far. I mean, he's been hit a couple of times, scrambled, and he really keeps his poise. And I think that's one of the great signs of a young quarterback, because the game is so much faster, so much more physical at this level, that sometimes when they get bodies flying around them, they've been hit, they get frantic, and they just look uncomfortable. And he's definitely shown the ability to keep his senses about him. He had a great play, I want to say, down in the red zone last game where he had some pressure, shrugged off a defender, and was able to find Ross Street in the back of the end zone, where I think most young guys probably would have tucked it and tried to run and probably would have got a pretty good shot, because one of the defenders kind of covered him up pretty quickly after he shrugged off the defender trying to tackle him. So when I see those type of things, when I see him in the 2 minute, have great awareness of situational football, operating the offense at a high level, all those things are definitely moving in the right direction. And I think he's gaining the trust of the coaches, the players that are lined up beside of him, because that's always the thing that you worry about, how is he going to perform in game time? Because athletically, arm-wise, his talents are off the charts. But how is he going to perform in game? In these first 2 preseason games, I thought he's done a heck of a job of operating our offense at a high level, making plays with his feet and his arm. And but I know he still wants to continue to get better with some of his accuracy. Obviously looking guys off, and just get just a stronger command of the offense. Because what Dable has brought in is definitely complicated, very dynamic and versatile, and the better control and idea you have of what he's trying to accomplish, obviously, the better you're going to work in the system. So, but with all that said, he's doing a really good job, especially with everything that he's carrying on his shoulders with being with the number 7 pick overall.
That's great to hear. Again, from Cover One, I'm Rob Quinn. I just want to say thank you again for coming on. If you want to let us know where we can find you on Twitter and the ACES Foundation, if anyone wants to support or donate or find out how they can help.
Yeah, well, you want to look up what the foundation's doing, keep up with us. LorenzoAlexander.org is the foundation's email or URL handle. And then on Twitter, I'm One Man Gang 97, ACES_Foundation. Both places where we're constantly posting and updating people what we're doing in the community.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Lorenzo. I really appreciate it.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.